Before this day ends, before the clock strikes the next 20 hours, something is shifting in your favor. What if the prayer you almost gave up on is the very one heaven is answering right now? What if the delay was never denial, but divine design? Get ready, because God is about to surprise you. Before you can fully embrace the surprise God is about to send in the next 20 hours, you must understand that divine timing is not your timing. Life has a way of testing our patience. We pray, we plan, we push, and then nothing seems to happen. Days go by, months go by, and the things we have been believing for feel distant, even impossible. And in those moments, our human minds are quick to assume that delay equals denial. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if delay is actually a divine design? What if what you think is waiting is actually preparation? Every delay, every pause, every moment of silence from heaven is carefully orchestrated by God, who sees the end from the beginning. He knows the perfect hour to release what has been promised, and it is always more than we could ask or imagine. You see, when God works according to his timing, nothing is rushed, nothing is wasted, and nothing is misplaced. Your breakthrough, your miracle, your long-awaited turn is not late. It is precisely on schedule according to a plan that exceeds your understanding. It may feel uncomfortable to wait. Waiting tests our faith. Waiting stretches our patience. Waiting challenges our hope. But this is exactly why God allows waiting periods in our lives. He is not punishing you with delay. He is preparing you to fully receive what he has in store. Just as a seed must remain in the soil, hidden and seemingly inactive before it grows into a towering tree, so too must your dreams and prayers remain in God's hands until the right moment. Patience is not passive. It is active faith. It is believing when you cannot see, trusting when you do not understand, and hoping when circumstances suggest otherwise. Imagine if you had received your blessing too early. Would you have been ready to handle it? Would your faith have been strong enough to sustain it? Divine timing ensures that you are fully equipped for what is coming. It ensures that your heart, your mind, and your spirit are aligned with God's purpose for your life. So in these next 20 hours, instead of focusing on what hasn't happened, focus on what is happening behind the scenes. Your prayers have not fallen on deaf ears. Your tears have not gone unnoticed. Every act of faith, every moment of perseverance, every second of waiting is being collected, multiplied, and turned into your favor. Do not let frustration, doubt, or impatience rob you of the joy that is coming. Stand firm. Stay expectant. Remember, divine timing is never accidental. God is never early, never late, and never forgetful. What is meant for you will not pass you by, and when it comes, it will arrive in a way that is perfect, powerful, and life-changing. Believe that the next 20 hours are already marked on heaven's calendar. Believe that your delay is not a delay at all, but a setup for a powerful, unexpected, and miraculous surprise. Trust that God knows the exact moment to shift your life, and when he does, it will be undeniable. So keep your heart open, keep your faith strong, and prepare for the surprise that is coming, because divine timing always delivers, and what God has for you is worth every second of waiting. Even when life feels chaotic and nothing seems to make sense, God is always working behind the scenes. The challenge is that we often measure progress by what we can see with our eyes, but God's work is spiritual, and much of it happens in ways we cannot yet perceive. While you worry, he is orchestrating connections, opportunities, and circumstances that will shift your life in ways beyond your imagination. While you doubt, he is aligning people, resources, and timing so that when your breakthrough comes, it will be perfect, complete, and unstoppable. It is easy to become discouraged when results do not match effort. We look at our surroundings and think, nothing is happening. But the truth is, God's hands are moving constantly. He is working in silence, unseen, and in ways too intricate for us to understand. Many times, what seems like inactivity is actually the most active season in your favor. He is moving pieces on a spiritual chessboard, setting up events in the natural that reflect his divine will. Even when doors close, even when plans fall apart, even when people disappoint you, God is still working behind the scenes. What may look like a setback is often a setup. What may appear as failure is often a redirection towards something far greater than you can imagine. It is in this unseen work that God's power is revealed. You may not recognize it immediately, but years later, when you reflect on your journey, you will see that what you thought was delayed or lost was actually being prepared. Faith requires trusting in this unseen work. It requires believing that what is happening beyond your vision is just as real as what is happening before your eyes. The next 20 hours could be a period where God shifts everything without you noticing it yet. Your breakthrough may arrive quietly at first. A text, a phone call, an unexpected conversation, a door opening in a way you didn't plan. These are the moments that confirm God's hidden work. It is critical not to underestimate the power of what happens in the background. Small, unseen adjustments often lead to massive, life-changing results. The universe seems still, but heaven is never still. God is continuously moving, arranging, and realigning circumstances in your favor. Your faith, your prayers, your hope, and your persistence are all part of the process, aligning with God's timing and His unseen plan. Sometimes you must let go of the need to understand the details. Stop demanding to see the whole picture. Instead, trust that God is weaving a story far greater than you could write yourself. What you cannot see is not inactive. It is intentional. God specializes in the unseen work. He uses seasons of waiting to prepare you, protect you, and position you for the next level of your life. So in these next 20 hours, do not grow impatient. Do not let doubt creep in. Do not discount the power of what you cannot see. Continue to pray, continue to believe, continue to position yourself for what is coming. God is behind the scenes, moving in ways that will leave you amazed, grateful, and forever changed. The key is to remain faithful and expectant, knowing that while you are waiting, God is already at work, preparing the perfect surprise just for you. When it finally manifests, you will see the proof of His hidden work and understand why it was so important to trust Him all along. Faith in the waiting is one of the most challenging yet powerful aspects of a believer's journey. Waiting is not passive. It is an active exercise of trust, endurance, and hope. It is the season where your faith is tested, refined, and strengthened. Often when we pray for change, for breakthroughs, for miracles, we want them immediately. We want instant answers, instant results, instant validation. But God's timing is perfect, and He often asks us to wait so that our faith can grow deeper, stronger, and more resilient. Waiting stretches us in ways that immediate answers never could. It forces us to rely not on our own understanding, our own strength, or our own timing, but entirely on God's wisdom and provision. During this waiting period, your character is being built, your patience is being strengthened, your trust in God is being deepened. The longer the wait, the greater the potential for growth. God is not silent in this season. He is speaking to your spirit, teaching you lessons that only time can reveal. Every moment of waiting is purposeful. He is shaping your perspective, refining your desires, and preparing your heart to fully receive what He has promised. Waiting allows you to see the power of persistence. It teaches you that even when circumstances seem stagnant, your faith can continue to move forward. It forces you to look inward, to strengthen your prayer life, and to develop a reliance on God that is unshakable. In these next 20 hours, this period of waiting is not meant to frustrate you or break you. It is meant to prepare you for a divine encounter. Waiting is the crucible in which God forges your readiness. Sometimes what we are waiting for is not just a blessing, it is a transformation. God wants you to be ready spiritually, emotionally, and mentally to handle the magnitude of what He is about to release. Your surprise may be bigger than your current capacity, and waiting allows God to expand your capacity to receive it. Patience in waiting also cultivates gratitude. When the blessing finally arrives, it will not only be a fulfillment of a desire, but also a testament to God's faithfulness and timing. You will appreciate it more because you have walked through the season of expectation. It's in the waiting that you learn to rely on God alone, to trust Him when logic fails, and to hope when circumstances say otherwise. Faith in the waiting requires persistence. It requires discipline. It requires an unshakable belief that God's promises are true, even when they seem delayed. It asks you to continue living in alignment with His Word, to continue speaking life over your situation, and to continue believing that your breakthrough is on its way. Waiting is not wasted time. It is the training ground for your miracle. It is the space in which God prepares your heart, refines your spirit, and strengthens your faith so that when the surprise finally comes, you will be ready to receive it fully and walk in it with confidence. So embrace this waiting period. Stand firm in your faith. Pray without ceasing. Keep your heart expectant and your mind focused on God's promises, because in these next 20 hours, your patience and faith in the waiting will align perfectly with the timing of your divine surprise, and you will experience a breakthrough that confirms that waiting was never in vain. Expecting the unexpected is a principle that challenges the way we think about God's blessings. So often, we try to box God into our own plans, our own timelines, and our own understanding of how things should happen. We create a checklist in our minds, a prayer answered this way, a breakthrough arriving in this form, a favor appearing at this exact moment. But God does not operate on our limited terms. He operates in ways that surpass our imagination and often in forms that surprise us. The most powerful things in life, the moments that change our trajectory, the miracles that redefine our future, rarely arrive in the way we anticipate. God's surprises are never predictable. They are not always loud, flashy, or obvious. Sometimes the miracle comes quietly, as a word of encouragement from a stranger, a phone call you weren't expecting, or an opportunity that appears out of nowhere. Sometimes the answer is not what you prayed for, but something far better than you imagined. The key is to cultivate a mindset of expectancy, to position yourself to recognize God's work even when it doesn't fit the mold you created. Expecting the unexpected requires flexibility. It requires humility. It requires surrendering control and trusting that God's wisdom exceeds your understanding. You may have a picture in your mind of how God will move, but the reality may be greater, more expansive, and more aligned with His divine plan. In these next 20 hours, God may move in ways that disrupt your expectations. The opportunity may come from an unlikely source. The solution may be hidden in a challenge you were dreading, or the blessing may be disguised as a situation you initially thought was negative. Your job is not to figure it all out. Your job is to stay alert, receptive, and faithful. Expecting the unexpected also trains your heart to respond with gratitude rather than confusion. When God's blessings arrive in unexpected forms, your ability to recognize them depends on your openness. If you are rigid in your thinking, you may miss the very thing God is sending. But when you stay flexible, expectant, and aware, you will see the hand of God at work in ways you never imagined. This principle reminds us that God is a creative God, always moving beyond human limitations. He delights in surprising us, not to confuse us, but to demonstrate His power, His love, and His provision. He wants us to experience breakthroughs that are bigger than our calculations and favor that exceeds our understanding. Often the unexpected comes at the precise moment when our faith is ready to meet it. That is why the waiting period, the uncertainty, and the doubt are all part of the divine setup. God is creating a moment so significant, so perfectly timed, that when it arrives, it will leave no room for doubt, only awe and gratitude. So, in the next 20 hours, prepare your heart for surprises. Open your mind to possibilities that defy logic. Watch for blessings in forms you never anticipated. Be ready to celebrate solutions that come from angles you never saw coming. God's ways are higher than your ways, and His plans are always greater than what you could dream. The miracle that is coming for you may not look like what you expected, but it will be exactly what you need. Expecting the unexpected positions you to receive God's favor fully, to recognize His work clearly, and to walk confidently into the new season He is preparing. Remember, the surprise is coming, but it may come in a way that completely reshapes your understanding of what is possible. Stay alert, stay expectant, and trust that God knows exactly how to astonish you. Positioning yourself for favor is more than just hoping that good things will come your way. It is an intentional spiritual practice that aligns your heart, mind, and actions with God's plan. Favor is not random luck. It is the result of being in the right place at the right time with the right heart when God decides to move. And while we often pray for favor, we must also prepare ourselves to receive it. How we position ourselves spiritually, mentally, and emotionally can determine how fully we experience God's blessings. The first step in positioning yourself for favor is your mindset. You must believe that you are worthy of God's blessings, not because of what you have done, but because of who God is and his promises to you. A heart filled with gratitude, expectation, and faith naturally attracts favor because it aligns with the nature of God, who delights in blessing his children. A negative mindset filled with doubt, fear, or entitlement can block the flow of favor because it creates resistance. Expectancy is key. Favor is often released to those who are ready to receive it, who are actively looking for opportunities, and who continue to trust God even in uncertainty. Positioning yourself also means aligning your actions with God's will. Favor is not given in a vacuum. It often intersects with effort, obedience, and diligence. God's favor may come through doors that require you to show up, to take steps of faith, or to invest your gifts and talents in service of his purpose. Sitting passively and waiting for blessings without preparation or effort can limit how favor manifests in your life. Spiritual alignment is another essential aspect. Prayer, worship, and a consistent relationship with God position your spirit to recognize opportunities, guidance, and divine connections. When your heart is attuned to God, you are more likely to discern the subtle ways he directs your path. Sometimes favor comes through people, sometimes through circumstances, and sometimes through insights that seem almost supernatural. Being spiritually aligned helps you see these moments and act on them. Positioning yourself also includes cultivating integrity and character. Favor often comes to those who are trustworthy, consistent, and dependable. When your life demonstrates faithfulness in small things, God entrusts you with bigger blessings. People naturally gravitate toward those whose hearts reflect humility, honesty, and generosity, and God multiplies opportunities for those he can trust to steward them well. In these next 20 hours, positioning yourself means creating an internal environment of expectation and readiness. It means speaking life over your circumstances, thanking God in advance for what is coming, and walking confidently in belief that your breakthrough is imminent. Favor responds to faith in motion, faith that prays, prepares, and acts. It is the alignment of your spirit, your choices, and your outlook that allows God's favor to land in your life in ways that are unmistakable. Finally, remember that positioning yourself is not about manipulating outcomes or forcing results. It is about surrender, alignment, and readiness. God releases favor to those whose hearts are open, whose faith is active, and whose lives reflect obedience and trust. When you position yourself this way, you create a spiritual atmosphere where God's blessings can flow freely, where opportunities can be recognized, and where miracles can manifest fully. The next 20 hours could be the period when all your preparation meets God's perfect timing, and favor lands in your life in a way that changes everything. Be ready, be expectant, and position yourself for the favor that God is about to release.